Welcome again to our biodesign course, Strategies for Innovation and Design in Bioengineering. Today we're going to see a very important topic for starting with all this venture of creating a new medical device. Okay, the first thing that we are going to see today is our topic on strategic focus. Strategic focus is something really important that I want you to do at the very beginning of the innovation process. And this is important, as you're going to see later on, because it's going to steer your innovation towards something that you are passionate about and to something that you are going to be more likely to succeed on. You can see that our more important objectives of this presentation are to understand that you must explicitly choose your strategic focus in order to innovate on the biodesign process. Secondly, you have to appreciate the importance of aligning your strategic focus with all your missions, your strengths, and weaknesses that your team and you personally have. Okay? Then I want you to formalize all these steps by choosing a strategic focus in the right way and to find your motivation to start this venture. Okay, so the very first thing that you have to do when doing a strategic focus, as you can see in the next slide, is create your personal inventory. Your personal inventory is a complex concept that it can be divided into three main things, okay? It declares your mission, it states your strengths and weaknesses, and again, it's from you or your team that is working with you, and some acceptance criteria that you have to have in order to steer your innovation in the right direction. So something very important is that taking time to perform this personal inventory can lead you to an appropriate and exciting strategic focus that will encourage your innovation. If we talk a little bit more specifically about these elements in your personal inventory, you're going to see that the very first thing that you have to do is the mission. The mission is what is going to direct everything else, and your mission should be a very synthetic, very clear, and hopefully a written straight statement of what you want to do and what you want to accomplish with your medical innovation. Okay? It has to be clear for you and for everybody else that what you want to do is something related to changing lives, to impacting not only in an economical aspect, but also changing lives in a positive way for society. This is very, very important for the innovator and for the biodesign process, because if you are here just because you want to make money in this space of medical devices, then probably the biodesign process is not for you. You have to have a very encouraging motivation, which is stated in this mission. And for doing that, you should know that the mission must declare that your motivation, your mobile for doing this, are ultimately the patients and changing lives of thousands or millions of people for better. Secondly, now you know with the mission what you want to do the next few years of your life, and then you have to acknowledge and encourage your strengths and weaknesses. If you're an engineer, a clinician, a nurse, or just someone from other field that wants to innovate in this space, you should know that, of course, you are going to have strengths, and probably a lot, but you are going to have weaknesses too. And knowing your weaknesses is going to make you better, and it's going to enhance your chances of selecting the right people to solve the problems that you detect. Okay? That should also be explicitly stated on a list or in whatever format you want, but it's something that must remind you in the things that you are good at and in the things that you are not. Okay? After doing all those two things, you are prepared probably to create a list called an acceptance criteria. And as we can see in the next slide, an acceptance criteria can have a lot of factors, okay? The factors that I'm showing in the next slide, for example, are some of the most interesting ones and probably some of the key ones that the innovators must accept or acknowledge or at least enunciate. And they can help you defining this strategic focus, but you can have many, many other acceptance criteria, okay? Many of your acceptance criteria can be economical, many of your acceptance criteria might be clinical, many of your acceptance criteria might be social or cultural, but whatever it is, you have to state it, and this could be a good representation on how to do it, okay? You have all these factors such as, anticipated market growth. You want to enter into a space that is competed or not, a field that is in which there are many solutions or in which there are not, a space in which the market is really, really big, or in a market in which, nobody is paying attention because the market is probably not built up yet, or you want to do something that has the potential to affect radically the health of people, or you just want to improve a little bit the health of others. It can take anything that you want, but at least it might be relevant for you, for your team, and for your advisors, okay? After doing this list, you're going to be prepared to lay out your strategic focus and to start with this innovation process, okay? And the sources of these factors, these acceptance criteria, might come from many different places. You can see that there are many websites and places and resources in which you can find this type of graphs. For example, in this one called Envisioning the Future of Healthcare Technology, in which you can see that there are some big tendencies out there in augmentation, 3D printing, creating new tissue from cells, stem cell research, genetic analysis, point-of-care diagnosis. It can be many things, and that can steer your acceptance criteria. You can say, hey, I want to focus all my research on a point-of-care diagnostics because I know that in certain places of the world there are problems that should not exist anymore, and just because they don't have a right diagnosis, they cannot have the right treatment, and that could be a factor that tailors your acceptance criteria. Some other resources can be epidemiological data, such as the one shown in the next slide from this company called Gapminder, which publishes this type of world maps, in this case of 2010, that, for example, explains where is every single country in the world in terms of health, life expectancy, and money expenditure. And you can see, for example, that Japan and the US are in the right upper corner of greatest life expectancies, but also greatest healthcare expenditures. You can see, for example, that Cuba spends far less money on medical attention and has probably more or less the same survivancy or life expectancy rate as many countries. And you can see there that there might be gaps that you detect on reducing cost of healthcare expenditures or something like that, and that can also be included in your acceptance criteria. Other types of sources could be more clinically relevant or more clinically justified, such as the ones showed in the next slide, in which I show the US medical device market outlook from Frost and Sullivan of 2008, where you can see that you can see all the expenditures in different areas of medicine. So, for example, you can choose to target your acceptance criteria towards solutions on, wound care, ophthalmology, general surgery, orthopedics, or cardiovascular diseases, which are probably one of the biggest killers throughout the world. Another way to find these acceptance criteria could be just to know your struggles at work. If you are a clinician, a nurse, or a hospital administrator, you can know what everybody's suffering from and all the difficulties that you have when doing your own work, and that could be a very good way to start on laying out these acceptance criteria or even your mission. Okay, other parts of your personal inventory can come from personal experience, knowing that it is a pain in the ass, for example, to take your medicines in the right time, in the right dose, and to remember everything that you have to do. And this problem could be even bigger if you are over-medicated or if you have to take a lot of pills to be in your best shape. That could be, you know, a personal experience that might encourage you towards the type of problems and solutions that you want to create. Another type of factors that can target this strategic focus can be just detecting voids in the environment in which you work, or the ones that you have visited, or the ones that people have told you about. You know, in the OR, in the emergency room. That could also make you choose this strategic focus. It can come, you know, just from knowing that there is people suffering from something, and that you want to know why this is happening, and you want to solve that for a person that is beloved to you. Or it could also come just by the sake of spreading joy, making life better, life simpler for all the people that is suffering from a medical condition. You know, whatever it is, you just have to find it. You just have to know what it is and put it on your strategic focus, to know what you want to do, and to provide you the motivation, this fire that you are gonna need to start with this innovation process, which is not gonna be easy, but it's gonna be really, really fulfilling if you do this from the very beginning. And with this, we have concluded with our first lecture on a strategic focus for the biodesign course, Strategies for Innovation and Design in Bioengineering. Many of these contents can be found on our biodesign book from Senios in the first chapters on strategic focus. Please refer to that if you want to know more about this topic, and see you later.